to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
It is a Saturday morning, and I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And again, I get the opportunity to do this podcast a day early. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know, Todd, you're thinking, Todd, last week it was a little light on podcasts. And you're right, it was. It was probably my first week in 3 months that I didn't release the 2 midweek podcasts. And I want to apologize, but I don't want to apologize. I got busy. It didn't happen. I'm back to my old ways. 3 months. For 3 months, you guys got 3 podcasts a week. Granted, 2 of them were pretty short, but you went into it knowing that was going to be the possibility. For 3 months, you got all 3 podcasts every week. And look at me. I'm back to my old ways. That was a pretty good run, folks. That was a pretty good run. No, I plan on changing my ways. We'll get back after it this week. I just had a lot of stuff that I had to get done, and I just kind of kept putting it off. And the next thing I knew, it was Wednesday, and then it was Wednesday evening, and I had people actually in my men's group asking me about where were the podcasts? Where did they go? Why am I not hearing the podcast? Well, you'll get them back. Just I'm human, man, and these things are free, so you get what you pay for, right? Today I wanted to start off. Just got a couple thoughts, and I never wanted this podcast to get real political, but today I'm afraid that it might get kind of political, and I might get a little ranty when it comes to the political aspect of it. So you just have to bear with me. It is what it is. This is where I come to vent. This is where I come to get things off my chest. And so that's probably what is going to happen today. Now, I'm thinking, like, what happened this week? I had my men's academy meet. I had my women's academy show up, and they showed up to meet. The weather was kind of so-so. It was pretty windy, pretty kind of nasty. So I didn't get a lot of private classes accomplished just because of the weather. And we're kind of in a weird time of year. We're getting really close to the end of school. I mean, we're a couple months out. There's graduations being planned. There's all kinds of stuff happening. So it's real spotty on how busy I actually am this time of year, but I'll take whoever wants to show up for classes. And I just didn't really have that many this week, so that's okay. I have got really busy doing other stuff, so much so that I did not have time to get the podcasts out. I was doing some thinking this week, and I was, I had a few minutes, so I sat down. And there is a couple shows. I mean, we probably have shows or YouTube channels that we watch. We know when these guys release videos, and whoever it is you follow, and you watch their videos. Well, I have one, and it just left me. It just left me on what the channel is called. But these guys don't do anything with firearms. Okay, They just do odds and ends. I mean, what happens is there's 3 guys. They're part of this YouTube channel. One of them is really loaded. He's got a lot of money, and he buys things, and they kind of go on adventures. Oh, I think it's called Misadventure Laboratories or Adventure Labs or something like that. Anyhow, I was watching the episode, and they went out to shoot. They took some guns. They went out in the desert, and one guy bought a bulletproof. It's supposed to be a bulletproof coat, a coat that was and it was not. So they tested that out, shot it a bunch, and they shot some other things. Now, they had a good time, but the firearms instructor in me was watching this, and I was just absolutely cringing the entire time. And I didn't watch them shoot and go, oh, you need to fix your grip, you need to do this. But the unsafe behaviors that I saw when they were shooting these firearms, I mean, they wouldn't clear the range. They'd walk down range to check something out. Guys were back behind them, waving firearms around, pointing the guns anywhere and everywhere. And it's not that they were being deliberately unsafe. It's just the fact that they had no organization and they didn't know. But man, the firearms instructor in me was just getting ready to scream. And not even the instructor. Like, if you shoot firearms, you need to know safety. You need to know what you should and shouldn't do. You need to know how to appropriately handle a firearm. Like, and I know I see a lot of people that don't know how to do this, but come on, man. Know the basics. We're talking the basics in safety, not shooting fundamentals, the basics in safety. And I've got another point I want to bring up. Whenever I see, there's a lot of times I see videos where people go out and they go shooting and they're not hitting anything, right? Why are they not hitting anything? Well, it's because they're back at like 50, 60 yards with a pistol, trying to hit a piece of paper, a paper target. And like, well, it's too high, it's too low, you're to the left. I don't do classes where we shoot that far. There's no reason to do that with a pistol when you're just out shooting. Go close. Go move close. I was screaming at my computer. They were trying to hit this jacket that was supposed to be bulletproof. And they were shooting from like I said, 60 yards away, 70 yards away, which is tough shot with a pistol for most people. And just to watch him do this and I was just screaming at my computer, get closer, dummies, get closer. What is wrong with you? Get closer when you have that pistol out. I don't know. It's just, Don't waste your ammo, man. And that's not the only time that's happened. I've actually had a gentleman, this was years ago, a friend of mine, say, "Oh, I can't hit the broadside of a barn like with my pistol." I'm not good with it. He was shooting a 1911. It was chambered in like 10 mil. I think it was some kind of Springfield Armory gun. But he's like, I suck with this gun. I can't hit anything with this gun. And I said, well, hey, let's go out shooting. I'll just go with you. This is before I had my own range. And I went out and I watched him set up to shoot. And I'm like, well, no shit, you're not hitting what you're aiming at. You're like 2 football fields away. Like, what? This thing's not a rifle, man. It is not a rifle. Get closer. Like, it's really easy. A handgun is typically going to be an up close and personal weapon. Like it is. 25 yards is a really a decent shot for a pistol. You start getting back to 50. Yeah, no, it's been done, and it's been done and documented. And even, a guy did that with a Glock, a G19, to stop a mass shooting in a mall. Like it has been done, and it is doable. But the average Joe doesn't just go back and start shooting at 50 yards when they're going to go have fun at the range. Not with a pistol. What a waste of ammunition. What a waste of time. Get close. Make it count. Do something with it. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. No wonder you can't hit the broadside of a barn. I see that quite a bit, though. They're like, I can't hit nothing. And they're like 900 feet away from the freaking target. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me, man. This is why everyone needs to go out and take some kind of instruction class. They need to learn. They need to get a little bit of education about how this all works. Like it's crazy to me. I'm like, yeah, no shit. I see why you aren't hitting anything. And when you go out, learn basic gun handling skills. Go out so all those people out there. I'm not talking to my audience listening to me because I'm assuming you guys are safe and you know the safe practices. But my God, if you're gonna make a YouTube video. And it may not even be a firearms / shooting channel. But God, the world is watching you at this point. The world is watching you. Demonstrate a little gun safety. And I'll be 100% honest with you. I think one of the gentlemen, and I could be wrong, but I think one of the gentlemen, he's the one that showed up like he provided all the firearms. And I'm thinking he might be ex-military. And I know that there was another one in there that was in the service, right? He didn't bring any of the guns, but the other guy brought all the guns. And my God, they were the most unsafe people on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. It was absolutely ridiculous that they actually put that and made a video and put it out for the world to watch. Oh my gosh. So let's talk about this real quick too. This is something that kind of came up that I wanted to chat about. Because I've had some people ask me some questions about it and just bringing stuff up in conversation. Let's talk about accidental discharges versus negligent discharges. In my mind, there is never an accidental discharge. You read those articles about someone that has gotten shot with a gun, right? They say, well, there was some, for example, I'm going to think of something that happened here locally because the story's still kind of fresh in my head, right? These kids, I don't know how old they were supposedly cleaning out a barn. I think they might have been in high school. I'm not sure, but they were cleaning out this barn and they came across this firearm. And in the midst of doing something they probably shouldn't with the firearm, that's what I'm assuming, one of the kids was shot and was killed. And the paper came out and said it was an accidental discharge. An accidental discharge of a firearm led to the death of so-and-so, right? And I'm like, that's sad. That's a sad story. It's a real sad story. But there's never an accidental discharge. An accidental discharge is what? It's when the gun fires itself. It's something that you might see with the SIG P320, which is kind of a running joke there. But that's the truth. Guns don't fire themselves. That would be an accidental discharge in my mind. So negligent. What is negligent? Well, negligent is someone neglected to do what? To follow the safety rules. Gun's not going to go bang at someone unless someone presses a trigger. So if someone gets shot by a gun, they're calling it an accidental discharge. If someone was handling that gun to make that gun fire, they broke a safety rule. Am I right? They were negligent. What safety rule? Actually, they broke a few safety rules. But the first safety rule they broke is what? Well, to make the gun go bang, you have to do what? You've got to put your finger on the trigger. You've got to press that trigger. So the trigger was pressed, right? The finger was on the trigger. That had to be broken. That safety rule was broken for that gun to fire. And then on top of it, if the gun would have just gone off, if the finger was on the trigger and they pressed the trigger and the gun was to have been fired, right, which it was, and if it had been pointed in the safe direction, it would have just fired and then it would have been shocked and scared and startled, and that would have been the end of it. But the other rule that was broken was it was obviously pointed in an unsafe direction. They actually they pointed the gun at another person. So 2 of the firearm safety rules is keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire the gun. That one is broken. The other one is don't point the gun, don't aim the gun or point the gun at anything you're not willing to kill or destroy. So that was a second one that was broken. Someone was negligent. What does negligent mean? Negligent means is, neglected. They neglected what? They neglected to follow the safety rules. That's why if you have young kids, and you should teach them the safety rules, but if they're even too young to maybe grasp the concept, then you teach them a simpler thing, which is what? If you see a gun, don't touch a gun. If your friend picks the gun up, leave. Don't you touch the gun. Go tell an adult you found a firearm. Here it is. It's over there. If your friend and buddy picks it up and starts messing with it, leave. Get away. That's what I taught my kids. Leave. Get away. Just don't handle it at all, because I guarantee you rules are going to be broken. And that's when people get killed or hurt, right? There's never an accidental discharge of a firearm. It's always negligence. It's always a negligent discharge. And that's with everyone. That's with people who don't know. That's with people who shoot guns all the time. That's with law enforcement. That is with military. If I get one more military guy that comes to my class and tells me, hey, I'm a military veteran, good, fine, thank you, whatever, all that crap. But you know what? That doesn't mean you're an expert in firearms. I guarantee you're probably the worst person in the class when it comes to safety. And it's amazing, but that and people are going, oh, you're dissing the veterans, Todd. No. That is the truth. That is 100% a fact. And unless you come and you're in a bunch of classes and you see the amount of people dealing with firearms that I do, you may not believe me. But if you do, and you're here with me all the time, you see it as well. That person that says, I was a veteran, I'm ex-military. I don't care if they're 80 years old. I don't care if they're 26 years old. They don't handle firearms safely. They don't handle them correctly. And most of them don't know how to shoot. I said most. I didn't say all. I said most. But that is if you're going to brag to me that you were in the military, if you're going to brag to me in my class that you're ex-law enforcement, I know that there's going to be issues. You're going to need some kind of help, right? You're in the class. You're getting instruction anyway. But I know that I need to watch you. That might ruffle some feathers, but that's just what it is. It doesn't mean you're good at what you do. I have lots of conversations. I have lots of friends, and I got a conversation with some people that I know that are law enforcement, and they talk about when they have to go out and qualify, and we talk about how unbelievable it is that these officers, right, because they're in law enforcement, that depend on, they have that gun with them they have to depend on their skills to actually save their lives, possibly, right? Because they're dealing with some of the worst of the worst. They're coming across other people that might be shooting back at them, that are meant to do them harm, right? And then these officers have to go and they have to qualify with their firearms, and they fail. They fail once. They fail twice. They possibly fail a third time. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. Just because you have a title doesn't mean you're good at this. Doesn't mean that you're better than everyone in class. It's typically, when it comes to my classes, especially like permit classes, it's that one person that has barely ever shot that just cleans house. They have no bad habits. They listen, and a lot of times it's the woman. It's the female in the class that does that, which is pretty fun to watch. As far as I'm concerned, cockiness, arrogance has no place in the shooting community. As far as like when you take a class and stuff, like just leave that at home. Leave that at home. You show up like that, I know that you are compensating for something, and it's probably the fact that you can't shoot. That's just the way that is. So, that rant kind of took life of its own. We're like 18 minutes in already. Now let's jump to something that is irritating me locally and then on the federal level, because Todd doesn't like to talk politics, but he's going to today, and he may ruffle some feathers, and that is fine because I'm just calling it like I see it. When I talk about these things, I'm talking about what is important to me, and today we're going to obviously talk about what? I'm going to talk about the Second Amendment, and I'm going to talk about gun owners and the laws and stuff being passed to help gun owners, right? To improve our gun rights. I'm talking about the laws being passed to do that, which, where's the crickets? Because there haven't been any. There hasn't been any. So locally, let's just talk on the local level. I live in Idaho, for all those that may not know. I'm pulling this up. So we have a group, and I'm not picking on this group because I think they do a pretty good job overall. I've had we've had our differences of opinion, but they do really good. We have what we call the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. They do good work. It's where I actually can go to their website and I can find out all the firearms bills that are coming forth in the legislative session every year. Now, I will say that I think the Idaho 2025 legislative session actually, I think it ended yesterday. Well, this is what was on the docket for firearms, okay? We have campus carry reform. We have concealed carry training change. We have, and I'm not going to get into each one of these separately. I'm just listing them off. We have a Firearm Preemption Accountability Act. We have the Stand Your Ground Immunity and Reimbursement Act. We have K through 12 school carry. So right there, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 5. That is 5 bills in the state of Idaho for the 2025 legislative session. Now, did you hear about many of them? If you're local, I'm going to ask you this question. Did you hear about many of them? No, probably not. There was a few. There was a big one in there that you heard about a little bit. But you know what? I've done some poking around. I've done some looking. And as far as I can tell, and I may be wrong, and if I am, you guys can correct me because I poked around where I know to poke around. I asked some people that should be in the know, and they didn't tell me any differently. But as far as I know, there has been no new firearms good, no bad. Let me put that. No bad firearms legislation, but no good new firearms legislation passed in the state of Idaho this year. Phenomenal to me. Phenomenal. We have Idaho, and this is what I'm afraid. This is what I am afraid. Okay, we took time, and I'm not saying our representatives are doing a bad job in the state. There's a lot of other things that they were focusing on as well, right? And that's good, but I'm not here to focus on that. I deal with firearms. I deal with firearms. I deal with Second Amendment laws. I deal with carry laws. That's what concerns me. That's what's really, I'm not saying it's the only thing, but that is what my career, my profession is based on, is Second Amendment, firearms rights, people being able to own guns, people being able to carry guns concealed and open and all that stuff, right? So this is what I focus on. If I was a farmer, I'd be focusing on the farm bills and stuff like that. I'm not. I am just talking about this right now. We had a big run last year, and we got a bunch of people elected in to office, a bunch of good local representatives, state reps, all this stuff, right? Supposedly we got this group in there that is just on fire. Well, they didn't do anything for me. They didn't do anything for me. I don't think I heard hardly any of them talk about any of this. And they all put out videos on their websites, on their Facebook pages. They write Substack articles, all this stuff. And not one of them mentioned any firearms bills. And I know this is really narrow-minded, but I'm just, like I said, I'm just focused on the Second Amendment part of it, the gun part of it, the firearms part of it. Why didn't we hear about that? You want me... And I know I'm just one person. You want me to vote for you? You want me to support you? The one thing that I really care about is what? Like I said, Second Amendment stuff, firearms stuff. You didn't do shit for any of those. How come none of these were passed? How come there was, even if they weren't passed, I know it doesn't just take one or two people to pass this, but show a lot more support. Show me some videos. Show me that you tried to get it there. I think that this core group in the state of Idaho have gotten so in love with themselves, honestly, that they're too worried, and whether you find it important or not, that's on you. I'm talking about me right now, but they are too worried about trying to make it so you have to read the Bible. Our kids have to read the Bible in school, or put a list of the commandments on the freaking wall at the school. Like that doesn't do shit for me. It doesn't do crap for anybody. These firearms, this is what is important to me. You did absolutely zero. You're so in love and infatuated with yourself that you were just focused on pushing your own agenda. You talk about bustling yourself up in the armor of God and going and fighting for the people of this state. You're in love with yourself. You're not an idol. You're turning yourself into an idol. You're not a god. Take care of something for the people and leave all your crap at home. This is ridiculous. Like nothing happened in this state. And I think we have to really watch that because honestly, I think there's kind of a new cancer. We talk about Idaho being surrounded by states that have really crappy gun laws, like Oregon and Washington State, right? And where we think that with all the influx of the people moving from out of state, moving to Ada County, up in the Boise area where the capital is, that it just is going to take the drop of a hat. If we're not very careful, it doesn't take much for this state to turn. and become that Washington state where they control all the gun laws and one county absolutely controls everything. And we can't get people to show up to vote here. And it's, Idaho is just Idaho. Idaho's been Idaho forever. It's a good old boy state. I can whine and complain and bitch about it all I want online, on social media, and it's going to change. But I won't show up and vote. It's time to get in there and hold people accountable. It's time to show up and vote. We can't sit back and fall asleep, okay, and just think Idaho is changing. And I look in the firearms aspect of it. I look at what happened this year where you barely heard about any of this stuff, right? And the fact that none of it was hardly talked about, or it was held in someone's desk, or the bill was slipped in someone's drawer and held and wasn't looked at and wasn't talked about and wasn't voted on. The fact that I think Idaho's one step closer now. I think we're one step closer. I think if we're not careful, I say this all the time, we're not careful, Idaho's going to turn. And I think after this legislative session, I think we are one step closer to that. And I really think that we need to be careful locally here, and we need to hold these people accountable, because Idaho is not too far from flipping. I think that yeah, we might have thought we got in there and we chased out or supposedly, hopefully chased out a cancer, but I think another cancer is back. I think a new cancer has showed up, and it's a group of politicians that are so in love with themselves. And I'm not talking about people on the left here, folks. I'm talking about these grassroots people, these people on the right. And it's probably never going to be perfect, and Todd's going to complain about something all the time when it comes to politics, but that's politics. But I think our local group, or not even local group, there's a core group here, right, that ran as kind of a grassroots, Republican, not Republican, independent, whatever they freaking constitutional party. They are so in love with themselves that they're just pushing their Christian nationalism, nationalist agenda, and it's not good. It's not good. And I honestly think, to a certain extent, I think they're taking their cues from who? From Daddy Trump. And President Trump being elected, he wasn't my choice, right? I didn't want Biden, obviously, so don't go down that freaking road. Hear me out. We all have our opinions. I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I don't like the guy. I wasn't totally against him, but I didn't vote for him. I picked someone else that aligned more with my values, someone that I knew wouldn't get in, and that is what it is. Okay, but I got to do what I feel is right for me. Now, we're going to jump to the national level, the federal level. I'm not against what has been going on, what President Trump has been doing. He is finding Doge and that whole group, and they're finding the waste. We're getting that stuff out of there. Like, that is good. Applaud, clap. That probably sounded really bad on the microphone, but I'm going to clap. Hooray, hooray, yippee, yippee. You do that. I agree with that 100%. I am not against what has been going on. But what I am against is what? I am against the pick. I'm concerned with, and I've talked about this before, the pick of Pam Bondi as Attorney General. She's about as anti-gun as they come from the state of Florida. And she mirrors Trump. I'm going to say right now, Trump is not for firearms. He is not a gun guy. He is not a gun guy. He said he was. He said he is. He'll say what he needs to do to get elected. He put Pam Bondi in, and you've heard this from me before, but it's just irritating to me. He put Pam Bondi, told her to go to the ATF, okay? Told her to go to the ATF, look at all their rulings, look at all their decisions, look at all their whatever you want to call them. They aren't supposed to really even have any rulings, but they have all this stuff. Go look at it. Tell us what's unconstitutional, what is not right. Let's clean. And when he did that, I was like, oh, God, sending Pam Bondi in. Well, maybe she'll find something. Maybe she'll say something. Guess what? The deadline is passed. The deadline for her to report back to Donald Trump on the ATF stuff has passed. He extended it. We still haven't heard anything. They put Kash Patel in. Oh, yeah, go Kash Patel. I don't know that I'm a Kash Patel guy, but they put Kash Patel in charge there, over the ATF. Have you heard anything? Have you seen anything? How come we haven't shut that whole division down? How come we haven't shut that whole agency down? How come we haven't done anything? We haven't done anything. Why is that? Let's talk about why that is. Because I don't think Donald Trump is is for firearms. Like, he's not. He's a blowhard when it comes to the Second Amendment. He's a blowhard when it comes to firearms. And I don't care. You go, well, he's been shot at. He's been shot at. I don't, dude, it was before that. I really don't care that he was even shot at. That has nothing to do with my argument right now. It just does not. He is not for guns. He is not for the Second Amendment. Now, I don't think he's going to come in and imply a bunch of new laws. I mean, he could. Last term, he kind of talked about it and did some things and did some bump stock things and red flag type laws. Like, they've got him saying some stuff, but he's not who you think he doesn't even. He's not who he says he is when it comes to the Second Amendment. I don't think he's going to pass anything that's going to hurt us, as far as I don't see him issuing a gun confiscation, but I think he's just going to remain neutral. I think he's going to stay where it is. Now, you may look at that and say, well, see, he's for the Second Amendment. He's not coming after it. No, he's not coming after it, but he's not helping us out at all. There's a couple bills. As much as I don't agree with national reciprocity, he never mentioned that. Right? Everyone thinks he mentioned that. No. His son mentioned that, and that was from like 3 years ago, and that video resurfaced and ran the gauntlet, okay? There is the Suppressors Act, the Hush Act, whatever you want to call it, right? The Safe Hearing Protection Act, whatever. I think there's 2 or 3 versions of it out there. Have you heard Trump say anything about that? Where is that? No, all we got on that is they came out as a ruling that suppressors do not fire a bullet, so they are not protected under the Second Amendment. He could do it. He's the freaking president. He can come in here and say, "This is what I want done. Make it happen." He's got enough of cronies up there that they would do that for him. His group, they would do that. If he said do it, they would do it. He hasn't said anything. So that you have to look at that and go, yeah, he's not really for the Second Amendment. He's not really for do something with the do something with the ATF. Disband it, dissolve it, get rid of it. Make some kind of ruling. Say, this thing that we've been talking about, suppressors. Yeah, I want to make suppressors easy to get. Do away with the tax. Let's help out gun owners. Like, this is bullcrap, and this is why. Change it. Make them so that you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to register them. You don't have to do. That's really easy for him to do. He's the freaking president of the United States. He said that he was for gun rights. He said, I mean, hell, he went and, I'm not that I'm a big fan of him, but he went to the I can't even think of their names, but he went and spoke. He went and spoke. Right? He went and spoke about firearms. He was invited to the banquets. Come on, people. Is he really for firearms? I don't believe that he is. I'm dying over here, though. I am. NRA, that's how much I don't like that organization, that I forgot what they were called. He got invited to speak at all the NRA crap. That should tell you a lot about the NRA, right? That should tell you a lot about the NRA right there. He's not for it, man. I think we all need to wake up. I think we need to look. I think we need to be, as gun owners, I think we need to be a little outraged. Now, if you're looking at overall things that he's done, if you're looking locally at overall things our local people have done, and you go, hey, well, I'm worried about not just firearms, Todd. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that. And overall, if the majority of what you are into that they have taken care of and they have protected, and that's fine. That's fine. Now, this is just me ranting and raving. My number one thing, honestly, is firearms. As far as anything else, yeah, I'm concerned about budgets and spending money and some taxes and different things like that. I get that. But right now, I'm just focusing on the Second Amendment. I'm focusing on firearms, furthering those rights, freeing that up, protecting those things, making those laws. That's what I am concerned with. So that's what I'm talking about right now. And my local leaders, and as far as the president's concerned, and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, if I were to judge all of them on what they've done for the Second Amendment, what they have done for gun rights, then they all fail. They all pass. We need new people, honestly. If I just judge them on that one thing. and go ahead and disagree with me. Go ahead and disagree with me. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have missed something that they've done. That they've done absolutely nothing that I can see, that I can find. If I were to judge them on just that one thing, that one topic, they all failed. They all got an F. Local leaders, national leaders, you name it. It's over. They're done. You send them packing. They didn't do anything for me, because that's kind of the way that I look at it. Now, you're going to have these supporters say, well, I didn't. And I kind of got at this before, but we're going to have these supporters take a win for a win. They didn't hurt it. They didn't hurt it. They just, yeah, but you could back it so far up the other direction that when the next Democrat gets in control, he's got to do all that work to bring it back to this point. That's what we freaking want. Let's reverse some things. Let's make stuff easier. That's what we want. So don't give me this crap of he succeeded. He did what he said he was going to do because he didn't do a damn thing. That's still doing nothing. That's still doing nothing. You can like President Trump and you can still say, well, he didn't do shit for the Second Amendment. Like, admit that. Admit it. You can like local leaders and you can like some of the things they've done, but you can look at it and tilt your head and scratch your head a little bit and say, but they didn't do shit for the Second Amendment. Admit it. Right? And I admit it. I admit that on the national level, the group that's in there has done way more for us than the last group did, than Biden's group did. I'll admit that. But when it comes to the Second Amendment, they didn't do anything. They've done nothing. And holding stagnant and not changing anything from where it was when we left, that's still doing nothing in my book. So there you go. There is my rant. It's not a rave, but there's my rant. There's the podcast. I hope you guys appreciated it. I don't know. All this stuff just irritates me. I get tired of hearing about how great everything is. For example, I'm going to throw this out there too, and I know I'm going to get a bunch of people going, nah, 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 you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. I like to look at how stuff directly affects me. How does it directly affect me, right? I heard a report the other day where Trump said egg prices are down, gas prices are down everywhere. Bullshit. Come hang out in my neck of the woods. Fuel prices are not down. Grocery prices are still way up. So if you said that they were down lower than they have been in a long time, that's a bunch of crap. You can't make a blanket statement like that unless you know for a fact, right? So I'm just going to throw that out there too, because I'm just kind of fired up and irritated today. But there you go. If you enjoyed the podcast, if you enjoyed this rant, share it with your family, share it with your friends. But you know what? Go out and be honest with yourself. Sit back and think about, what have these people actually done for me as far as the Second Amendment is concerned? And I would be hard pressed to think you're going to come up with any other answer than, you know what? Really nothing. Really, they have done nothing. And the opportunity has been there. So there you go. I'll see you guys in a week. Bye.